Sue. Hello, Sue. How are you?
Hey, John, I'm doing great. Thanks. Thanks so much, everybody, for joining us. We're really excited about this pop-up PD.
We certainly are. So for anyone that hasn't joined us for Pop-Up PD, first of all, where have you been? But secondly, and arguably more importantly, Pop-Up PDs are all about sharing quick fire ideas that you can use with Mote tomorrow for your learning and with your students. So without any further ado, I'm going to hand over to Sue. I'm going to share your screen to the stream, Sue.
Perfect.
I'm going to fade away into the background, and any questions, I will jump in. But really excited to see what you're sharing today, Sue. Thank you.
Hi, everyone. Okay, so the first thing I'm going to share today is going to be a way for teachers to be able to introduce themselves. This came to mind because I know that a lot of schools are doing either back to school nights or orientations or open houses. And a lot of schools are still looking for virtual alternatives as opposed to having a bunch of parents, guardians, family members coming into the building. So I was trying to think of a way that Mote could really be used here. And with the new introduction, I think it was last week, of Mote with QR codes, I decided to create this sample sheet here. The sample slide here. So ultimately what it is it's very simple. It's just a little background. And of course, this can be any design that you like. Then I have two images. These two images are actually images that you can find on our Mote icons page, which I have shared right here. So you can see I've added them right here. And I'll come back to how we can use this coming right from our Mote icon gallery. bit.ly/Mote icons. And again, I'll come back here, but you'll see here's the camera, which actually has nothing to do with Mote. I guess if you create a Mote audio note in slides, you can use this to replace it if you so choose, or to demonstrate how to do that. But this is kind of just a placeholder to either tell your teachers or your students that, we're going to put our Mote QR code in this particular spot. And then this is just telling them, okay, this is where you're going to put your image. So if I come back to this slide, and again, this can be anything. It doesn't have to have the Mote logo. It doesn't have to be purple. It can be anything. The icons are set to purple. If you want a different color, you can send me a message. But ultimately, I thought that this would be a great idea and a great alternative maybe to like creating short videos, which can really take up a lot of teachers' time, which we all don't have a lot of right now. So ultimately, what you would do here is you would create a Mote audio note using our Mote note up here on the extension, and you would create a Mote voice note, which I'm going to demonstrate how to do, and then you would share the QR code for this. So ultimately, you can hang this outside of your classroom, or we can share out this interactive slide deck that we can have all of the teachers collaborate on together to do brief introductions to either parents and guardians. There was a teacher in one of our workshops last week that also recommended what a great idea this would be for a club and organization, get to know you virtual sessions or virtual workshops, if you want to call them that. So a great way for you to be able to include maybe a picture, if you're the teacher here in this example for a back to school night, teacher intro, and then a brief description. So ultimately, how does this work? So on this sample, I'm just going to duplicate this slide so I don't mess with it too much. I'll change this to my name. So we'll go with Mrs. Trankina here. Okay, and I'll read the directions. Right click here, replace image. Okay, so I'm going to click here, right click or two finger click, and I'm going to go to replace image. And then the second directions on the bottom actually says to find on this image camera to take a selfie or upload one. So I'm going to go to camera and then hit replace. Oh, whenever I'm on calls, sometimes it gets a little distorted whenever we're live. We'll go over here to the next one. Right click here, replace image, and select your own Mote QR code. So now I have to record a Mote audio note, and I have to save that as an image, and then I'm going to replace this with my actual QR code. So if we come up top. Hi, everyone. I'm Mrs. Trankina. I am the video production and business technology teacher, and I'm so excited to work with your students this year. I also am the advisor of the Video Production Club and the Blue Devil News, so if you have any interest there, please feel free to email me at sue@mote.com. Thanks so much. Okay, so now instead of copying the link, if I just simply click this new share button, which you do have to have the updated extension to see. So if I click this button, you'll see the option to either copy link or QR code right here. When I click on QR code, it gives me a custom Mote QR code where I then hit save image, and I'll close out of this. And I'll follow the directions on this icon. Right click, replace image, select your own Mote QR code. So I'll click here, replacing this image, and this time I'm going to upload from computer in my downloads, and there it is. So this can be printed out, this can be shared virtually, and you can have one for each one of your teachers, one for each club or organization. You can see here's a little bit of a better picture of me actually in my classroom right then and there. So I thought that that would be a really great way for educators to be able to quickly and comfortably share an introduction for back to school night, particularly if we are doing these virtually now. And this is once again where those icons will live. So if you wanted to just simply download them, so for this one, for example, you would just come to bit.ly/Mote icons. And then slide number 2, as of right now, until we get some more, is here. And you can download that as either a JPEG or PNG to put as a placeholder on your slide.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Sue. So just a couple of things there that Sue kind of covered super quickly, but really thoroughly. So yeah, Mote for QR codes was launched last week, and we've seen and heard some wonderful uses already being shared. So if you have any great ideas, please just send us a note. We'd love to hear from those, and maybe even feature those in our Mote Learning Hub. And again, that was mentioned a couple of times. Would definitely recommend heading over there. I will drop the link into this particular stream in just a couple of minutes, but lots of ideas being shared for all age groups and all parts of the curriculum. And one of those brilliant posts that we have there is actually from Sue with a really nice explanation of just how easy it is to change that speaker icon within Google Slides. So I would 100% recommend taking a quick visit there. Thank you again, Sue. So I am now going to, so what I'll do is I'll give Sue a little bit of a breather, and I will share my screen now. And I'm just going to share with you a couple of ideas for slides and for docs really quickly, but just different ways that you might like to use them. So this was actually inspired largely by Rick Beaulieu, who presented expertly at MoteCon. If you didn't have the opportunity to join us for MoteCon, don't worry. I will share the link. It's all over socials, so you can access all of those sessions. But what Rick did as a music teacher was he had different musical instruments and was trying to get them play over one another. Now, his solution was pretty ingenious in that he had each slide in a separate tab and would play them one after the other. Since then, I've discovered that there's actually possibly, and dare I say, even better way, or certainly easier way, of having your Mote audio files playing over one another. So I have here, this is a basketball scene, and I've got different sounds that would be associated with a basketball court. However, you can see that when I click on one, it stops the other. But if I go into presentation mode, something really cool happens. So I still have these clickable buttons, which, by the way, would be just as accessible for anyone, whether they're using a Chrome browser or they're accessing on their phone or tablet or whatever. So the first two have been set to loop and the final one is not. So if I just tap on this, then you will get an idea of how this works. I'm going to make sure my sound is turned up to 11 and go ahead and press play. So that's this one sound, like the bouncing of the basketball. Then I'm bringing a bit of crowd. And then finally what I'll do is I'll end it all with a whistle. Okay, so there we go. That was a super quick demo of how easy it is to actually do some quite creative things with audio. And I'm sure that our Mote community, who are way more creative than I, will be able to come up with some really good ideas for that. I'm now going to jump into a Google Doc, and this is actually an idea that was borrowed from Greg. So Greg also on the team at Mote. And one thing that he and I sort of started to speak about was hypermotes. So I've got an article here on Scranton, Pennsylvania. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to head up to the Mote icon, and I'm going to use the Mote pad to record my voice note. Hi, everyone. As you know, I am a big fan of The Office. The Office, of course, is based in Scranton, Pennsylvania. Have a read through this article, and why don't you send me the 3 things that you think is most impressive about Dunder Mifflin's hometown? A copy to the clipboard. All I need to do now to make this a hypermote is I'm going to highlight the text, and I'm just going to show you everything I need to click on here. There are different ways of doing this. I'm going to click on Insert, paste my link, and when I click Apply, you'll notice something really cool happens. So automatically our eyes are drawn towards this hyperlink. What happens when I click on it? Well, with Mote installed in my Chrome browser, I now have a clickable card that I can play from within the Google Doc and without leaving. So there's lots of potential use for this. Just to clarify, this is the use case for Mote outside of leaving feedback, but a really nice tool for accessibility. So here we go. Hi, everyone. As you know, and then that voice note plays back from within the file. And then just finally, this actually came from a conversation that I had with a school in America yesterday, and it was about using the Motepad. So for those of you that aren't familiar with the Motepad, what it is it allows you to save all of your notes into a particular place, and then you can reuse them. Now, their question was again about accessibility and about trying to be as accommodating as possible for the many students at their school that might benefit from a translation going into multiple languages. So this is what I suggested for them. So let's say that I jumped in here and I'm going to start to record just a generic Mote. So it's going to be something along the lines of, please listen to all of the feedback. In the first instance, what I'm going to do is I'm going to review and edit my transcript with a purple button. I'm going to wait for the transcription. Doesn't take long at all, and it's super accurate. By the way, we've switched to Azure, which is giving us excellent accuracy with our transcription. So this is transcribed into English for me. What I'm going to do is for someone in my class that speaks Spanish, I'm going to translate it over to Spanish. And as I said, this is where the magic happens. I'm going to save it to my notebook. And what I'm going to call it is Pop-Up PD Demo. I'm going to save that, exit, and share that with my student. Now, let's say that I wanted to jump back to my to another student's work, or jump into another student's work, I should say, and I want to leave that same audio comment, even within Google Classroom. In this case, it's going to be this slide deck that we already worked on. And what I can do is just by tapping comment, if I long hold now on the Mote icon, I can access my notebook. And you'll see that I have all of the voice notes I've saved. In this case, it is this pop-up PD one. So when I click on this, it goes into the comment. But as I said, this was a solution that arose yesterday from a question that was, can I translate my voice notes into multiple languages for the various students that I have in my class? And this is a way of doing it. So what I would do is, I know that this is now in Spanish rather. But what I could then do is I can jump up here and I can choose any other of these languages to translate into. By the way, if you think there's a language missing, please let us know and we'll get that updated for you as quickly as we can. I'm going to switch to Arabic and I'm going to click on Save, then go to Comment. And what's happened now is I've got the voice note here with the Arabic translation below. And if I jump back into the original file, just a reminder, I've got my voice note, still in English, by the way, but with a Spanish transcription below. Okay, those were the things I wanted to share. So I'm going to bring Sue back onto the stream, and I'm going to remove as much as it pains me to remove a reference to The Office from a screen, I'm going to welcome Sue back. So there we go, Sue. Those were a couple of ideas from me.
Yeah, I love those. I love those unlimited and schools features of being able to translate and transcribe. Such great features, particularly when communicating with your students, if the language that you're using in class isn't their primary speaking language. Awesome. Very cool.
Cool. So I can see that you've already teed up your next idea, Sue. So I'm going to push that onto the stream.
I'm
going to leave it to you. I can't wait to see what you share.
Yeah, this is a new one. I haven't shared this one yet, so I'm excited to share it as well. So one of my biggest frustrations is at the start of the school year, trying to remember all of my students' names. And if you also struggle with that, please let me know, particularly in high school, but of course in any age group. We had upwards of 125 to 160 students in our district at any given time throughout even just one semester, never mind having multiple semester classes like I also had. And we had to create sub-plans, at the start of the school year too. So that's why this idea came to mind for me. I thought that this is a great way to have your students, obviously with a married last name of Tranquina. A lot of people get that wrong. My maiden name was DePino, which has an H, a hidden silent H in there somewhere. So there's always a lot of frustration when it came to teachers mispronouncing my name. So I always felt a little strange mispronouncing other students' names because I knew how it felt for me. So this will be shared on our Learning Hub. It's actually so new that it hasn't even been shared yet, but I will also include a sample file for everyone to download should you not want to make your own. This is just a table that I created right here in a Google Doc. And then going back to those Mote icons that we used previously in slides, you'll see that I just used that right click and replace image button here. But again, it doesn't have even a Mote built into it yet. So a couple options that you have here. I'm going to actually zoom in a tad so that we can see all of the fine print. But so this would be for my period 1 roster, say, and I would share this out with my students collaboratively so that they all have editing rights on here. Type your name and replace the image with a selfie. So again, right click, replace image, select upload image, choose image, or select camera. It's hard to see. I guess we can zoom in, take photo and replace. So I always had my students do selfie mode with that camera, and that's what I'm going to demonstrate. So record a Mote and hyperlink your image with the proper pronunciation and any nickname that you'd like to be called. So I've done that. I've taken the liberty here of typing in Sue Tranquina right here, and then I can replace this image. So right click, replace image with my camera, and hit replace. Okay, and you can see here now that I would have ultimately all of my students' images with their names. So that's already one barrier of me being able to recognize who my student is and see their name, and use this for my sub-plans as well to put into my subfolder for the substitutes to check off my students as they're there, having a wonderful guide with their faces. But additionally, just like John showed previously, I can hyperlink either my text or my image right here with an audio note using Mote here. So that's what I'm going to demonstrate right now. If we come up here to the extension and we simply record our name, looking at the directions, proper pronunciation, and what we'd like to be called. My name is Susan Tranquina, but you can call me Sue. And then I'm going to hit done there. And now that link is automatically copied to my clipboard. If for whatever reason I come back, I can hit this button and choose copy link if I needed to do so. Coming back in here, I can right click or 2-finger click and head to link. I can also choose this from the menus up top. And I'm just going to paste that link on my image. Okay. Hyper modes for the win. Yes, absolutely. I can also, instead of doing it on my image, I can also simply click that text right there and put that link right there. And if you have Mote installed, what will happen is you'll actually be able to click on either of these links without having to leave the page. My name is Susan Tranquina, but you can call me Sue. Like so, and here's on the image. My name is Susan Tranquina, but you can call me Sue. Like so. So I thought that this was a really great way of again, having your students have creation in their own hands and being able to contribute to this doc themselves, but also you're telling them exactly where you want them to place their images. I would just imagine if you didn't have this tight table here, there would be images everywhere and formatting would be all off. So this was just an idea that I had, whether this is for sub-plans, being able to pronounce your students' names, which I think is so important to build building those relationships with them, or of course, just being able to remember who all of your students are by looking at them and hearing their name.
So that was awesome. I really, really like that too. I think that was a much more powerful way of actually using the idea of being able to that sort of phrased hypermotes. I think having that as part of a roster and using that within Google Docs, and as you say, just making sure it's so important that we get the names of our students and our co-workers and the wider community, that we get it right. I think that's such an important thing for us to do. So thank you for sharing that, and I'm sure that will be super popular.
Yeah.
Just as Sue said, like one or two of the things that we've shared today aren't on the hub just yet, but that's no excuse not to head over to the hub, because there are more than 40 activities that I know will really tick lots of boxes for lots of educators out there. So please have a little dip in there, and I'm sure that there'll be something both for your classroom, but also something you'd be able to share with someone from your team. So, Sue, I think that wraps up another Pop-Up PD, unless there's anything else that you would like to share.
No, I thought we were going to share them next week's pop-up PDs. So, so if you like today's, don't forget to tune in to next week's pop-up PDs.
Exactly. So we will see you then, everyone. So for now, goodbye and keep on moting.